What's up, YouTube? It's your boy coming back at you once again. A couple of topics on my mind. Wanted to discuss with you guys. But anyway, it's really gonna be talking about rejection and how to deal with it, right? Before we get started, if you could do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Definitely comment. Anything that you do to interact with the video helps me grow the channel, so I really appreciate it. But anyway, let's talk about rejection. I seen a couple videos, and it was one video that's circulating right now. A young lady was outside of a club, and I think the video record started after she said that she had already rejected the guy, and she started being really rude and really hostile and aggressive to the guy. And you see the guy, he's persisting even though she's being very hostile and rejected, trying to ask her what's wrong with her, but she made a comment to the video, or follow up to the video where she says prior to that he'd asked her for a number, try to get to know her, and she was trying to be nice, and what we see in the video is her after being nice and him not getting the hint. Now, there was no need for her to be as aggressive and as rude as she is, because she went all the way out cussing him out and threatening him and things like that. But what I want to say is, why didn't you just walk away, bro? Like, what is it with, and I see this over and over again, guys, and what is it with us, especially, I've seen it so much when I've been out, like, you get rejected and you persist or you get angry, right? I know sometimes rejection hurts, but not everybody's for you, right? And nobody owes you a conversation, right? A stranger doesn't owe you a conversation, right? So until you make yourself look silly, let's say, for example, you approach a girl and she's not feeling you, and then by some miracle you convince her to deal with you. Do you think that her dealing with you is genuine, right? Do you think that anything that comes from that is going to be worth your while? So I don't get it. If she's not attracted to you immediately when you approach her, like, women know. When women know, she knows whether she's attracted to you, by the way, and she knows that immediately. So you having a longer conversation with her is not going to make her change her mind to holler at you. You know what I mean? I heard one of my guys said on a video, I can't remember if it was Poor Man's Podcast or something else. They were talking about the video, another situation, and if a woman says something to you like, "Oh, that's nice," or "Oh, that's so nice," 9 times out of 10, she's not feeling you. If she does interact with you, you're going to be in the friend zone pretty heavy. You almost want a woman to, say, "Oh, you're trouble," or something about, "Oh, do you use that line on all the women?" Like something that indicates to you that she sees you as someone that has options, right? And that's when you continue the conversation, right? Not, "Oh, no, I'm not interested." Oh, what do you need? Why do you need to know she's not interested? She's not interested. You don't need to, waste any more of your time, because the more time you waste, the silly you look. Because say, for example, you're in a club, right? And let's say there's a girl that might have been interested to you, but you didn't approach her yet, right? And you spend a lot of time with this particular woman who doesn't want you. You think that girl is going to be like, "Yeah, well, now that I've seen you get rejected by this girl, and you spent all this time trying to get it, you seem desperate. Now, whatever attraction that she did have for you is gone." So you got to learn to, go where you're appreciated, not tolerated. If a woman is not really feeling me, and I had to learn this because sometimes I might not read the signals. If a woman's not feeling me from jump, then more time with her is not going to convince her to change her mind. Matter of fact, it's gonna probably make her more standoffish and more convinced that she's making the right decision by rejecting you, right? Getting angry about it, or asking questions, "Why you don't want to talk to me?" or what's wrong with you, blah 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 blah, and all that stuff. Like, you look silly. And, and that's the thing. You guys look really, really silly persisting on someone who doesn't really want you, right? So you got to know when to walk away and know that, hey, she isn't for me. I have to find the one that's for me, or I need to work on myself so that, if I do approach someone in that same caliber again, that they're happy that I did. They feel lucky that I approached them, right? I had a friend of mine that used to always tell me, you don't want to deal with a girl that you want. You want to deal with the girl that wants you. Because, a lot of times, we as men, we spend all this time and effort trying to convince someone to like us, and they know whether they like us from jump. And very rarely is someone going to change their mind if they didn't like you in the first place. Like, I heard a comedian say, women are the only people that'll be like, oh, he grew on me. Bro, all that means is that the options that she thought were available to her are not as available as she thought they were. And you persisted until you were the last one. Now, some guys may be like, oh, that's a win. Right, but all she's doing is buying her time. You're never going to be in a position of controlling that relationship. You're never going to be, her first choice. Someone else is always going to be the guy for her. And unfortunately, in those particular situations, she ends up leaving. Because you never really did it for her. You just were the most consistent person in her life. And she's always going to have that desire for another guy or other men, because maybe she don't know the guy that does it for her. She just knows that you're not that guy. However, her options are dwindling, and she needs somebody that's going to be stable in her life. And you happen to fit the bill. All right? So, when you get rejected, take that as a win. Because, a lot of guys will look at that like, oh, I lost because I didn't get any numbers tonight. That means one of two things. One, your type of woman wasn't in there. Or B, you need to work on yourself. You didn't have your ish together. And that's okay that you don't have your ish together. But it's not okay to try to force someone by certain means to do better. To choose you, excuse me. And I think it's very crazy and cringy for a guy to, continue to try to push a woman to like him if she's not feeling him at all. I think it's the worst thing a guy can do. But anyway, it's just a really quick video. That was on my mind, guys. So if you could do me a favor, you can hit the like button, subscribe button. Like I said, anything you could do can help the channel. And, we'll be more videos like this in the future. Thanks, guys.